warmly welcome you all to the 19th Annual General Meeting of your company. On our behalf, I also extend to you and your families our very best wishes that you remain safe and in good health. While this Annual General Meeting is conducted as a virtual meeting, let us hope that by the next year, we will have the opportunity to invite you to a meeting where personal interaction will be possible. Governments and industries have come to learn that reviving the economy in these challenging post-COVID environment requires both care and vigilance in matters of health and safety. In this spirit, your company has implemented various measures to protect our employees and our passengers so that its operations continue to grow in a safe manner. The past 3 years have been a reminder that aviation is an essential service to society. I'm delighted to say that as a prominent player in India's aviation landscape, your company worked closely with our government in repatriating thousands of people back to India and transporting millions of COVID vaccines across the country. To look back at fiscal year 2022, COVID continued to be a central concern. In its efforts to navigate its way out of this gloom, the company has been active on many fronts. It has continued to optimize cost, headcount, and capacity, enhance the company's liquidity position, and sustained critical investment in network and fleet. Today, as a result, we are stronger to face challenges ahead with higher customer satisfaction, a stronger cash position, an expanded network, and a newer fleet. Even as global society has been straining at the bit to emerge out of the shadows cast by the pandemic and look forward with hope, we have seen setbacks to global economy arising from geopolitical tensions, concerns about energy supply and security, and in some ways, consequentially, disruptions to supply chains. To some degree, it is fair to say that the Indian economy is partially shielded from the brunt of these challenges. The second half of the last fiscal provided validation of this assessment and welcome encouragement in terms of growth. The combination of the impact of the pandemic, higher fuel prices, and adverse foreign exchange impact did, however, lead to the lack of profitability for the fiscal year 2022. In view of the poor financial performance, your board did a final dividend for the fiscal year 2022. Looking forward, India, with an increasingly urban population whose incomes and aspirations are growing in tandem, is expected to generate impressive growth in air travel demand. Backed by recent policies from the government, policies like UDAN and regional connectivity, and renewed emphasis on airport infrastructure investment, the foundation for this growth appears to be sound. Furthermore, globally, post-COVID air travel patterns are also expected to favor growth of leisure travel over business travel, and many economies are seeking to rebuild the appeal of tourism as a part of their own recovery. Your company is well placed to benefit from these trends, both for domestic and international routes. For the first quarter of the current fiscal year, your company operated its highest ever capacity, which was above its pre-COVID levels, and noted commensurately strong revenue performance. We are resolved to perform better in the fiscal year 2023 and to get back on the path of profitability soon. Since inception, the cornerstones of your company's competitiveness remain its focus on operational excellence and on-time performance, modern fuel-efficient aircraft, and above all, on affordable fares and customer satisfaction. While these remain the focus of the business going forward, as you will hear from our CEO shortly, your company has dovetailed these objectives with contemporary goals on environmental, social, and governance topics, the ESG Agenda. This comprehends matters such as sustainability, social equity, and quality of governance. Many of these goals come naturally to us. For example, a young fleet of fuel-efficient aircraft not only helps us keep operating costs low, but also go a long way towards minimizing carbon emissions from air travel. At IndiGo, an important part of a larger and focused push on ESG We have formally launched our sustainability program, IndiGo Green, last year. We continue to aggressively pursue our long-term environment sustainability strategy, reducing carbon emissions with fuel-efficient aircraft and operational protocols, early exploration of use of sustainable aviation fuel, and carbon offsetting. In addition, our efforts towards minimization of use of plastics, our support of afforestation, and revival of water bodies are other examples of our commitment to sustainability. Our service and linkage to society does not stop with our role in air travel. A good fraction of our employees are women, and this has caused us to pay special attention to initiatives such as gender empowerment for rural women, touching over 55,000 individuals last year. Our outreach to rural school teachers and over 1,400 students was aimed at awareness and education to prevent child sexual abuse. IndiGo has been actively engaging with people with disabilities and has set up internal targets to allow more of them to be a part of our committed and successful workforce in the coming years. On the governance front, processes and checks spanning operations, management, and the board have been further upgraded to confirm compliance. Importantly, going beyond mere compliance, many aspects of the business, including enhanced scope of internal audit, risk management, digitization of operational processes, and enhanced cybersecurity focus, have all been a part of this initiative. Going forward, we expect IndiGo to remain focused on its strengths, expand its role as the airline of choice for air travelers, open new routes, many of them international, and significantly build upon the start that has been made in air cargo logistics. In each domain, we expect IndiGo to chart successful trajectories. IndiGo's strength since inception comes from its people, and I'm grateful for the tireless efforts, dedication, and commitment of our employees for going above and beyond the call of duty in these trying times. We know we can count on their continued commitment in the journey forward. Importantly, I would like to thank you, dear shareholders, for the steadfast confidence and faith reposed by you in IndiGo. I wish to thank my colleagues on the board for supporting, encouraging, and guiding management in these trying times. Now let me invite Mr. Rahul Bhatia, our Managing Director, who would like to convey his greetings to you and his message as well. Over to you, Rahul.
Thank you, Dr. Sumantran. Good morning, and I just want to add my welcome to Dr. Sumantran, to all of our shareholders. And while, of course, the proceedings will be conducted essentially by the chairman and Rono, I would be quite happy to contribute during the Q&A sessions if necessary. Thank you once again. Over to you, Rahul.
Thank you, Rahul. Dear valued shareholders, thank you for joining us. I feel privileged to speak to you today. Our last 2 financial years have been the most challenging in the history of our existence due to the advent of COVID-19. Throughout this period, IndiGo stood firm and responded judiciously with appropriate reduction in capacity and headcount, cost reductions, liquidity enhancement, and investment in network and fleet. With these efforts, IndiGo emerged even stronger, with leadership position in costs and a strong cash position, expanded network and a newer fleet, improved customer service with higher share of customers served. The problems we experienced in our 2-year performance, such as COVID, fuel, large losses, etc., are all cyclical in nature. In contrast, all our responses and our structural changes have been strategic and sustainable. I'm proud to state that IndiGo also fulfilled its social responsibility by operating numerous repatriation flights and transporting COVID vaccines across the country. IndiGo remains committed to support these missions and to respond to the critical humanitarian needs of the hour. When I look back to our 16-year journey through inception, we have remained committed to the 3 pillars of our service, which are being on time, providing courteous and hassle-free service, and providing affordable fares. We have always focused on securing the number one position in on-time performance, reducing customer complaints to the lowest, and reducing mishandled bags, and also improving net promoter scores. In all this, our core strength continues to be our highly skilled and engaged employees who support our growth plans and enable us to deliver a consistent, high-quality product. We are grateful to them for their dedication and loyalty. Our overall financial performance for financial year 2022 was disappointing, with total losses aggregating to 61.6 billion rupees. Given the lack of profitability for financial year 2022, our board of directors have not recommended any dividend. Most recently, we announced results for the first quarter of fiscal year 2023. The good news is that we had a remarkable quarter in terms of our revenue performance, as we reported the highest ever capacity of 27.5 billion ASKs, which was 7% higher than pre-COVID levels. We reported the highest ever revenue of 130.2 billion rupees, with highest ever yields and the highest ever unit revenue. Unfortunately, the headwinds caused hitting rupee and higher fuel prices led to a net loss of 10.6 billion rupees for the June quarter. Excluding the foreign currency loss, we were operationally profitable by 3.6 billion rupees. As we enter the second half of the fiscal year, we expect the external environment to improve, and we look forward to a better performance in the fiscal year 2023. We are also nearing the commencement of commercial operations of our first two freighters in October 2022. The freighter segment will add another critical dimension to our business. We continue to see robust growth across the network, and our expansion is being accompanied by high growth in connecting traffic. We have a balanced fleet order of 500 aircraft plus the XLRs, which are currently expected to be delivered in 24-25. These aircraft will allow us to capture non-stop international traffic, which is currently served only through one-stop competing hubs. We connect different corners of the country, providing a stimulus for commerce, medical traffic, corporate traffic, leisure, and VFR traffic. As the nation's preferred and responsible airline, we promote national integration and socio-economic progress. We are building capabilities to grow sustainably and striving to reduce the carbon footprint, delivering services that cater to societal needs and a strong governance framework. We aim to play a pivotal role in taking the communities that we serve along with us on our journey of sustainable growth. We are responding to the ever-growing challenges and opportunities in the areas of customer experience, revenue maximization, and cost reduction through increased productivity and optimization techniques. With our objectives of low cost and high growth, we will certainly maximize value to our shareholders. I will now conclude by expressing profound gratitude to all of you for your unwavering faith in us. And with that, let me invite our chairman to proceed further with the AGM.
Thank you very much, Rono. As there are no qualifications or adverse remarks in the auditor's report, I shall take it as read. Since the notice of AGM has been circulated to all the members along with the annual report for FY 2021-22, the same may be taken as read. Your company has proposed the following items as set out in the notice for your approval. Item number 1, to consider and adopt the audited standalone financial statements of the company for the financial year ended March 31, 2022, along with reports of the Board of Directors and the auditors thereon, and the audited consolidated financial statements of the company for the financial year ended March 31, 2022, along with the report of the auditors thereon. Item number 2. To reappoint Mr. Anil Parashar, Dean 000555377, as a director who retires by rotation and being eligible offers himself for reappointment. Item number 3. To appoint Mr. Vikram Singh Mehta, Dean 000411197, as an independent director of the company. Item number 4. To appoint Air Chief Marshal, retired Birender Singh Dhanova, Dean 088-51613, as an independent director of the company. Item number 5. To appoint Mr. Melevetal Damodaran, Dean 021-06990, as a non-independent, non-executive director of the company. Dear members, the moderator will announce one by one the names of the members who have registered themselves as speakers. The members are requested to keep their questions brief and specific and limit their queries to a maximum of 3 minutes. The answers to all the questions will be provided at the end. Any queries that are not addressed will be responded to by the company by email. The company may send their queries by email at investors@goindigo.in. The management of the company will respond to such queries in reasonable time. With that, let me turn this over back to the moderator.
Thank you very much. We will now begin with the question and answer session. We request to all the speaker shareholder to use headphone for better sound quality. Ensure that no other background applications are running on their system. Ensure that their Wi-Fi or broadband is not connected to any other device. Please ensure that their camera and mic settings are enabled while speaking. If there is any connectivity issue from the speaker shareholder's side, or if any speaker is unable to join the AGM for any reason, the next speaker would be called upon to speak. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. I now request the first speaker shareholder, Mr. Mustafa Khedwala. Please proceed with your question.
Good morning. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for this opportunity. So there was a news article today which claims our company has grounded 22 airplanes due to unavailability of engines. How will this affect our near-term expansion into international markets? Also, have our lease rentals gone up due to these shortages across supply chains recently? So now that the fare caps have been removed, what are the forward booking trends we are noticing? My next question is, a recent report was suggesting a very strong yield environment even in the current soft quarter. Are the unit revenues currently better than last quarters? And so lastly, our on-time performance has taken a beating recently. What steps have we taken that an anomaly like what we experienced a month back does not take place in the future? Those are all my questions, sir, and thank you very much. It is a privilege to see this company grow year after year, even in the most harshest of environments. My compliments to the entire team. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I now request the next speaker shareholder, Mr. Arijit Roy. Please proceed with your question.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Good morning to everyone. My name is Arijit Roy. I'm from Calcutta, and I'm one of the shareholders of the company. At the very onset, I would like to state that the annual report of the company for this year is very informative and very impressive. I really appreciate the ESG initiative that has been taken forward by the company. Couple of questions. There has been a decline in the net profit of the company. Also, the net worth of the company is negative. But the good thing is that the revenue for the first quarter has been, by far, has been very good. So, what is the future outlook uh, of the management for the next 2 to 3 years? My next question is new low cost airline has been coming to the market. So, how does the management perceive this as a competition in the near future? At the end, I would like to say that it's a very well planned AGM, and I would like to take this opportunity to congratulate the entire IndiGo team for this event, and hopefully the company cross all barriers and grows significantly in the future. All the best for all the individuals. Thank you for the opportunity, and thank you for the patient hearing. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I now invite the next speaker shareholder, Mr. Santosh Bhotani, connected on audio. Please proceed with your question.
Namaskar, Chairman Sir, Board Member and Management Team. First of all, I would like to thank the CS and his team for sending the email well in time, and I found that the annual report is in detail in information and in a very transparent and lucid manner. Sir, my question is, what are the company's strategy to counter competitive platform? And what are the steps company has taken to strengthen business and value creation roadmap? So, as a shareholder, I believe and hope that the company management is far younger in its thinking, transparent in its working, stronger in its commitment, and more responsible. So, as previous speaker said, the company performance during the last year was not satisfied. I was not satisfied because there was a testing time of second and third wave, and most affecting sector is our business model. So, as a shareholder, I spoke on the resolution, and I wish the company all the best in the business and hope to see a healthy growth in this in business and size of the company in the coming time. We also believe that and confirm that the rich experience of the board will help the leadership team in achieving bigger milestones, and it will soon reflect on our stock price too. Best wishes to each one of you, sir, ahead of the festival season. Thank you. Thanks to all. Thanks to company secretary and to the top management and each and every employee who rendered their services during the pandemic time, and they all are deserve the reward and appreciation certificate from the management. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much. I now invite the next speaker shareholder, his name or not. Please proceed with your question. His name or not, please unmute your audio and proceed. Yes, sir. We can hear you. Please proceed.
हाँ, आई एम ए जॉइंट शेयर होल्डर ऑफ योर कंपनी। मैं श्रीपाल सिंह मोनोद गुरुग्राम हरियाणा से बोल रहा हूँ। आप सबको सादर नमस्कार, सादर प्रणाम। चेयरमैन साहब, आपके डायरेक्शन में कंपनी ने अमूल्य 19 सालों में बहुत अच्छी तरक्की की है। इसके लिए मैं आपको और आपके पूरे बोर्ड को बहुत बहुत बधाई देता हूँ। आप भारत के प्रधानमंत्री जी का सपना डिजिटल इंडिया, मेक इन इंडिया बनाने में बड़ा योगदान कर रहे हैं। कंपनी की प्रगति में आपका योगदान अमूल्य है। आपके अच्छे शासन व प्रशासन की वजह से ही कंपनी निरंतर प्रगति के पथ पर आगे अग्रसर है। आने वाले सालों में विस्तार की योजना को विस्तार से बताइए और पूंजी की व्यवस्था कैसे करेंगे, और जब हमारे फ्यूल प्राइस बढ़ते हैं तो हम उसको कैसे डिवाइड करते हैं, इसके बारे में थोड़ा जरूर बताइएगा। और आपसे निवेदन है कि भविष्य में एजीएम, ईजीएम और बोर्ड मीटिंग भी वीडियो कॉन्फ्रेंसिंग के द्वारा ही कीजिए। इससे तन मन धन की सब बचत होती है जो कंपनी के प्रगति में योगदान करेगी। आपके सीएफओ साहब व कंपनी सेक्रेटरी साहब बहुत अच्छा काम कर रहे हैं। समय पर बैलेंस शीट व नोटिस मिल गया है। कंपनी सेक्रेटरी साहब और उनके सहयोगियों ने अपना अमूल्य समय निकालकर जो मेरा मार्गदर्शन किया, उनका मैं आभार व्यक्त करता हूं। धन्यवाद। जय हिंद।
Thank you very much. I now invite the next speaker shareholder, number 2, Mr. Anil Champaklal Parekh, connected on audio. Please proceed.
Hello. Hello.
Yes, we can hear
Hello,
you, sir.
Chairman sir. Am I audible? Am I audible? Hello, am I audible?
Yes, we can hear you, sir. Please proceed
Hello.
with your question.
Okay. Okay. Chairman sir, Board of Directors and fellow shareholders. So my name is Anil Parekh from Mumbai. I would like to extend wholehearted support for today's all the resolutions proposed. My question is, sir, how many more fleets we are adding this year and next year onwards, and what is the occupancy rate of our all the fleets, and where other destinations you are looking at globally? Thank you for patient hearing, and I support all the resolutions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That was the last speaker shareholder. Over to Chairman sir for further proceedings.
Dear shareholders, thank you very much for your questions, your comments, your greetings, and in some cases feedback. Thank you very much. I will now request our whole-time director and CEO, Mr. Ronojoy Datta, to respond to the queries that you have raised. Rono?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We welcome your questions, and I'll do my best to respond to them as fully as I can. Mr. Mustafa raised a question about 22 aircraft being on the ground, AOGs as we call them. As you're probably aware, there are significant supply chain disruptions going on throughout the world, as a result of which many of our suppliers are struggling to keep pace with parts, seats, aircraft, engines, you name it. We are seeing pressures all across the board. Yes, it's true, we do have around 20 airplanes on the ground now, and the key question is, what does it do to our capacity? We are in a very strong revenue environment, and we would hate to be losing any opportunities to be flying the capacity we had planned for. Fortunately, we have enough levers to pull to try and keep our capacity at the levels that we had earlier planned. Some of these, of course, are related lease returns. We have a significant number of airplanes that are always on a return cycle. As you know, IndiGo has a strategy to keep airplanes only for 6 years. And as they get older, we return them to the lessor. So while we're taking delivery of planes, which may slow down a little, we also have the opportunity to slow down our returns as well. So net, although we are struggling with this capacity issue a little, we are comfortable that our fleet plan will proceed close to where we had planned. And to give you specific numbers, for full year 2023, we still plan that our capacity will be 13% higher than pre-COVID. So it is a challenge, but we are comfortable that we can deal with it. Mr. Mustafa also asked about forwardance, and in particular, he asked the question, will the unit revenue this quarter be higher than last quarter? Last quarter, as we stated, was one of the highest unit revenues we've ever performed. This quarter, we are in a seasonal weaker quarter. The quarter ending in September is one of the weakest quarters, and September month in particular is the weakest month of the year. So, is the unit revenue looking good or is it not looking good? Well, compared to seasons, comparing this season to last season and the seasons before that, the quarter looks very good. But it will be impossible to match last quarter's unit revenue because it was such a strong quarter and we're going into a weak quarter now. I'll move on to the next speaker, Mr. Arijit Roy. He was looking for a revenue outlook for the next 2-3 years and also had a question on startup competition. Revenue outlook for 2-3 years. We are blessed to be in a geography that we operate in. Airline revenues typically perform at about 2 times the GDP. And as we know, our country has one of the highest GDPs in the world right now. And if we say that India is going to grow at 7%, we can safely assume that airline revenues will grow at 15% or more. So therefore, we are very optimistic about the future. On top of that, speaking specifically to IndiGo, as you know, we have the strongest network in the country. We have one of the lowest costs. We have a great customer service. So you put it all together, the macro looks good in terms of the geographic positioning, and the micro looks very good in terms of IndiGo's particular positioning. Mr. Arijit's follow-up question was on competition. And I would say we all airlines operate in the same overall environment, but each one has its own unique positioning. Some are full-service carriers, some are wide-body airplanes, some are international, some are more domestic. So we are all in our own particular market positioning, and IndiGo's market positioning is particularly strong, and in some ways insulated from the competition that we are facing. Just taking us versus Air India, there are enough degrees of separation. They are a full-service carrier, we are a low-cost carrier. They operate a wide-body fleet, we operate a narrow-body fleet. They are mostly international, somewhat domestic. We are the reverse. We are mostly domestic, somewhat international. So again, enough degrees of separation. Comparing ourselves to some of the low-cost carriers that are also there. Again, we have such a strong network, we have such an efficient fleet, we have all neo airplanes, as you know. So all of those, again, give us enough separation. Overall, I would say that we have a very strong business model. And we are focused on delivering our business model and leveraging it to the maximum. So as we said, sometimes we mind our own business because our business opportunities are so strong that while we are responsive to the competition, we are not reactive to the competition. The third speaker, I'm trying to see the questions. Yeah, the key question there was, what is IndiGo doing to create value? And I could go on and on this, but let me just list the top factors. What are we doing to create value? We're the lowest cost carrier, clearly in the country, and among the lowest cost in the world. We run a very quality airline, clearly in the country, and on a quality airline compared to anything in the world. As you know, we are the 4th most punctual airline in the whole global network. We have one of the highest growth rates of any airline in the world. We have one of the most efficient fleets of any airline in the world. We have an aircraft order of 500 airplanes, one of the biggest order books anywhere in the world. We have code-share alliances with multiple airlines now, and there are many more standing in line to do a code-share alliance with us, which again creates revenue opportunities. Our network is one of the strongest. Our penetration into all the smaller cities of the country, one of the strongest. And above it all, we have a highly skilled, well-trained employee force. So value creation, yes, we are creating a lot of value, and we can promise shareholders that we'll deliver on all of these opportunities that we see. Mr. Monath was the next speaker, and he wanted to know what is IndiGo doing about rising fuel prices. Rising fuel prices, we believe, is a cyclical issue. Our belief is that we've seen spikes of oil up to 120. We don't think the world economy can sustain such high oil prices. Either the economies will go into recession or there'll be other oil supplies coming on stream. So it is a cyclical challenge. We don't think it's a long-term challenge. But in the meantime, we are doing everything we can to increase our yields and our revenues to combat this. And we are close. We just need a little bit of a break on two things, on oil prices and the currency in terms of the dollar rupee rate. If those two were to behave even moderately, we think we would be into profitability very soon. Mr. Parekh asked a couple of questions. He wanted to know about our fleet additions, our occupancy rate, and our new destinations. So fleet additions, in general, we take between 40 to 50 airplanes a year. It's also true that right now we are also returning 40 to 50 airplanes a year because we have a lot of old, inefficient airplanes we want to return. So net additions are somewhat modest right now for this year and next. But the good news is the planes we are taking are of higher capacity. They're the A321s. Which have around 232 seats or so, whereas what we're returning are the A320s, which have about 180 seats or so. So while our fleet count is not going up, our total seat additions are going up, which is why we said this year we will end up with 13% higher capacity than pre-COVID. The next question was on the occupancy rate. So our job is to maximize revenue on every flight. Now, that maximizing the revenue, we take a determination every day of the week. Are we better off increasing prices or are we better off increasing load factors? And it is that balance that we manage every day. So occupancy rate by themselves are only part of the question. The overall question is what is happening to unit revenues, and as we have demonstrated, our unit revenues have been on a climb quarter after quarter for the last 5 or 6 quarters. So yes, we believe that we'll continue to increase unit revenue and manage occupancy rates. Finally, new destinations. We are extremely excited about new destinations. Throughout this COVID period, while many people were retrenching throughout the world, we added 7 or 8 destinations domestically. And we're giving a run for the money to the railway system and the surface transport that people used to rely on earlier. So the small stations we've opened, Bareilly, Agra, Pantnagar, Deoghar, they're doing exceptionally well, better than we had anticipated. Now that's just the domestic part. International, as you know, India carries only about 35 to 40% of its international traffic. The rest is carried by international airlines. Why? Because they have competing hubs all around us. And one of the things that we've learned through this COVID experience was there was such a demand for charters from destinations we would never have thought of. For a week, we were operating charters to Tashkent every other day. We were operating charters to places like Manila and Bali. And we were like, my God, we didn't know there was so much traffic there. And how did people get there before? Well, they got there, one stop through Dubai, or one stop through Singapore or Bangkok. Now, we are very eager to go and get into those markets. I wish we had more airplanes right now. We will be opening international destinations all around us. But we have an eye on places like Nairobi and Tel Aviv and Bali. We'd like to go into each one of those destinations. And I promise you that we will very soon. Mr. Chairman, I believe that was the last question. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rono. May I now request the Company Secretary to explain the procedure for e-voting at the AGM and the date of declaration of combined results of remote e-voting and e-voting at the AGM. Sanjay?
Thank you, sir. In compliance with the provisions of the Companies Act 2013 and the SEBI listing regulations, the company had provided the facility to its members to exercise right to vote on all the resolutions which were set forth in the notice by remote e-voting. The remote e-voting period commenced on Tuesday, August 23, 2022 at 9 a.m. and concluded on Thursday, August 25, 2022 at 5 p.m. The members who have not cast their votes electronically and who are participating in this AGM will have an opportunity to cast their votes now through the e-voting system provided by NSDL. The member can cast their vote post logging in the meeting. The members who have cast their votes by remote e-voting prior to the AGM and attending the AGM shall not be entitled to cast their votes again. We have appointed Ms. Samrita Nautiyal, practicing Company Secretary, to act as a scrutinizer to supervise the e-voting process. The combined results of the remote e-voting and e-voting at the AGM will be announced within 2 working days from the conclusion of the AGM. The resolutions as set for the notice shall be deemed to be passed at the AGM today, subject to receipt of requisite number of votes. The results of the voting will also be informed to the stock exchanges, that is NSE and BSE, and shall display it on their website, and the results will also be uploaded on the website of the company and NSDL. Over to Mr. Chairman.
I hereby declare the meeting closed and request the members who are desirous of casting their votes to please do so within the next 15 minutes. Thank you all for attending the 19th AGM, and please do take care of yourselves and your families. Stay safe and healthy, and thank you very much.